in product management, it's very challenging, not only in managing stakeholder expectations, but you might deliver a product that doesn't get adopted, that doesn't meet the needs of the client, that may fail. And if you're able to learn from that, to fail fast, to really take those best practices and to know how to improve on those processes going forward, you'll be a really successful product manager because you know there will always be items that we can improve on.
Welcome to Productside Stories, the podcast where we reveal the very real and raw lessons learned from product leaders and thinkers all over the world. I'm your host, Nicole Tisch. In this segment, we interview today's trailblazing women in product management. Today, our guest is Sahara Muradi, Vice President of Product Management at Office Space Software. I'm very excited to have her with us and share her insights and experiences into the world of product management. So welcome, Sahara.
Thank you, Nicole. I really enjoy what you're doing for the product management community, and I'm excited to be here.
Great. I love it. We're excited to have you. And we'll get started with one of my favorite questions, which is just, how did you get started in product management?
To be honest, I feel like I've been product management since I was a child. My parents actually owned a breakfast and lunch shop at the bottom of an office building where they served meals to several companies in a corporate park. And as you can imagine, with an entrepreneurial family, they ended up putting all of us kids to work. So my job was essentially creating our menu, everything from the physical trifold menu to the display that was over our deli, and also their online presence with their mobile website. And at the time, that was pretty novel because the internet was still an emerging marketing channel, especially for small businesses. It was there that I got a chance to understand design patterns and how specific content being displayed in a certain manner impacts user behaviors and patterns. Everything from design elements in the fonts that you present to the images and placement that they have, as well as the subcopy that's presented for different menu items. And this was all before I knew what UX and UI were. And so as I started to understand these concepts, I carried that through with me to college. I decided to major in media studies at UVA. And there I had a lot more understanding on the frameworks that were behind these in terms of ideologies that you are impacting as you're presenting content across different mediums and channels, as well as being able to drive consumer behaviors and their inclination towards their purchase power, all by segmenting as well as displaying and designing items in a certain way. So I really learned a lot of this growing up, even before I was presented the opportunity to be in product management. Coming out of college, I was a consultant and a business analyst. So I was starting to take user requirements, aligning those into specific use cases and prototypes prior to development, and validating that the solutions that we were providing were meeting the needs for the customers as well as for the business. Following consulting, I joined Marriott as a project manager, and I was sitting in rooms with leads across global operations and digital, and they were starting to break down specific user personas, everyone from a business traveler to a family traveler, and dissecting every step of their stay experience and journey, from pre-arrival to their in-stay experience to their post-departure, and seeing ways that they can marry technology into facilitating ease in the travel journey. It was at that moment that I realized all the accumulation of my experiences and wanting to ideate and brainstorm on really innovative concepts and features that helped facilitate these tasks. So I took a chance in asking the director of the digital mobile and guest services for an opportunity in product. And it was there that I made the transition, and I haven't looked back. And I've had a really amazing opportunity on delivering industry leading products in travel and hospitality at Marriott, in meetings and events management at Cvent, even Major League Sports at MLB, and now in workplace planning and employee experience at Office Space.
I love that you just asked for it. Like you saw something that sounded really, intriguing to you and you went for it. That's great because you're really showing how product management brings so much different experience, from creativity to that business acumen and the project management skills, bringing that all together. And I think that's what is really great to showcase in these episodes in this series is what all can come together to make someone really successful in product management. So with all of that background, and now here you are, what do you love the most about product management?
What I love is being at the forefront of bridging user centric concepts with the business objectives and being able to deliver results. In PLG organizations or product led growth organizations, we are tasked with bridging product functionality with business outcomes and making sure that we have sustainable growth in that. And in order to achieve those results, we get to work and orchestrate across different disciplines within the organization. I love being able to collaborate with everyone from sales to marketing leaders to client services and professional services to make sure that we are not only identifying the challenges that we're seeing in our market and with our clients, but also being able to deliver and measure the impact that we have both for our clients and for our business. And it essentially grows you not only as a leader from a product perspective, but in every aspect of life. I use product management even in my personal life. You should see my vacation planners. I mean, I go into everything in terms of ensuring that we're constantly, ideating, measuring, and delivering, and then iterating.
Yes, and I hear your heart for the customer and all that. So I love how you keep focusing on that customer centric, right? Marrying customer with the business needs for sure. So what's really challenging in that? I'm sure there's, as much as we love product management, what do you see that is really challenging in this space?
The biggest challenges that we run into, especially in a SaaS organization, in a B2B environment, is the amount of input and requests that we get. And everyone really wants a piece of the roadmap. So, as you can imagine, from senior leadership who have certain objectives and KPIs that they're tied to in order to drive growth and to continue to maintain and grow revenue, to our clients who have their specific demands to meet business objectives, and our internal stakeholders. So when you look at all three of those specific discrete groups, each have their own interests, and we have various ways that we can gather those inputs as well as validate them and ensure we're objectively prioritizing them. So from a market perspective, it's really important for your organization to always be ahead of market trends, ensure that you're looking at different innovations, not only in just your space, but across different industries, reviewing publications, everything from Wired or The Verge for more broad scale, but also industry specific items. In Marriott, we constantly looked at Skift for travel and hospitality insights, and we looked at Sports Business Journal when I was at MLB. It's really important to see what emerging trends are so that you can ensure that you're ahead as well as staying competitive with some of your competitors in that space. For your clients, there are a lot of different ways to gather intel and inputs. We have a product portal where you can obtain requests and start to sort of see emerging themes there. You also have a lot of tools like Gainsight and Pendo that allow you to track how consumers are leveraging your platform, as well as get ahead on potential churn risk or expansion opportunities based on client sentiment that you're tracking for each of those clients and their use cases on those platforms. And then for your internal stakeholders, these are a true wealth of knowledge. They are your client facing teams, your field teams that are interacting with prospects and clients daily. And a lot of what they can provide is understanding some opportunities on product gaps, especially as it relates to prospects and what they're looking for, close loss deals because of something that you didn't have on your platform. You also have client services who are very interested in retention opportunities and ensuring that we're meeting the needs for their specific use cases. And then internal teams who also have their own needs for the platform, maybe to help facilitate professional services and implementation, setting up the platform. And as you have all of these insights coming in, the biggest challenge we have from a product perspective is how do we then validate them and tie them to actual tangible results, true KPIs, whether it's driving revenue for existing logos and retention, it's prospects and new logo expansion opportunities, or it's just efficiencies within your company and ensuring that you can stand up clients quickly. So, what we have to do is really ensure that as we're creating a framework to look at those requests relative to one another, it's transparent. So what we do in product is we create our stack rank lists. We qualify those opportunities through discovery. We're working with clients to make sure that we understand their specific use cases. We review design iterations with them. We interview them and have them look through our prototypes, and then bringing all of that data back to our internal teams. It's so important to expose that information so they can see what specific negotiations we had in order to align on the MVP scope, so that they know why we decided to determine certain things would deliver incremental value faster. At Office Space, we actually started a cross-functional roadmap alignment and feedback team, which we call the craft meeting. And what that does, it bridges together and brings individuals from sales, from marketing, from client services, as well as learning and enablement. And what we do is we review some of those problem statements that we've now validated in discovery and that we prioritize on our roadmap. And we start to gain some momentum in co-creating solution options with feedback as well as with insights that they share. We also qualify certain candidates for user research studies. And when we come back to the team, we're sharing outputs on what we've discovered, what we've decided from a phase incremental delivery approach, and we're building momentum in our go-to-market motions. Everyone is hearing these quotes and seeing the impact that this can have, and it's starting to feed into their work. They're going to QBRs with more confidence in what we're delivering from a roadmap perspective and able to speak on these features. We're showcasing items for client services that they can reference when someone asks for a product enhancement request that's already allocated on the roadmap. So these meetings really allow us to help our downstream partners feel confident in what we're introducing on the roadmap, but also that we're hearing them, seeing them, and addressing all of their needs from our insights and our discovery.
It sounds like a great way to get alignment across all those teams as well. I love that cross-functional work that you're doing there. Is there something interesting you can share that maybe you've learned from your teams or from any of your stakeholders lately?
There are many things that we learn from our stakeholder groups, especially when we have this transparency and this collaboration on a weekly basis. It's really important as we're evaluating prioritization to have a lot of the objective information at our hands. And so, in often cases, it's hard to scrub through Salesforce or Gong to find out specific information on product gaps. And so, what we've done is started to standardize that into categories and our opportunities, which makes it much easier for an AE or a BDR to quickly go in and select from a drop down. Here's a specific item that we've had challenges on. So that feeds into our metrics a bit more. Similarly, with client services, when there are certain areas that they have challenges with, we want to make sure we can create themes that will then allow us to tackle these initiatives at a broader scale and see how much of this we can truly deliver and quantifying that to actual business results. So whether it's the ARR tied to a specific deal or opportunity, or understanding the churn risk that we will have from a client retention or contract value, and ensuring that we're continuing to maintain our ASPs. So what we do is we challenge those who come to us with requests to provide that data, because that will essentially feed into our prioritization model. In many companies, you use Rice, you could use Moscow, or you could use Wishdif. We actually created our own at Office Space because there's so many key elements that go into understanding how you prioritize roadmap areas. It could be essentially whether this aligns with your growth transformation objectives and your MBOs, and that could be weighted at a certain percentage. The segments that you're really trying to target, your churn risk, if you don't deliver this feature, what will happen? Your competitive advantage, is this something that your competitors have already that you're catching up on, or something that's really going to differentiate you in the market? So what we do is we take all of those qualifying factors. They are all tied to numeric values that our field teams are providing inputs on. And then we have a specific weight and a formula that we use so that when we're stack ranking those, we can see essentially what really will deliver value the soonest, as well as help us realize some of those benefits that we've asked each of those field teams to provide to us.
That's really interesting. And that also puts that ownership on your stakeholders to do their research and do their work before coming to you, as opposed to just throwing out requests. They really need to own what that impact, what those outcomes are going to bring. So I love that approach. And so now I want to talk, Sahara, about you as the vice president. You've got a whole team of people, I'm sure, that you're working with. So what do you look for? What do you really look for when you're hiring a product manager? What stands out to you?
There are a couple really key characteristics I look for in project management, especially for product managers who are either new to product management or kind of still trying to figure out whether or not they would like to grow into an IC or manager role. And I think there are some key characteristics that really stand out to me. One is a passion to solve problems. I think they really have to be one by nature, someone who understands and really wants to get to the root of what workflows or challenges someone's having while keeping their end goal in mind. It's really important when they're in sessions to be very cognizant of the fact that every single person, every user persona you're interviewing has a specific task or achievement they're trying to accomplish. And so they have to understand that problem to the core and the challenges and the sentiments and the frustrations and everything that they go through and empathize with those users in order to truly solve the problem. The second thing I look for is for someone to be really curious and have a hunger. They have to be somebody who not only looks at kind of the more obvious paths to solving the problem, but are constantly brainstorming innovative ways, doing a lot of research. I mean, a lot of times I see product managers who are very sort of siloed in the types of programs they're used to as a consumer. They use like a certain set of mobile apps or social media outlets, but they're not doing that groundwork and that research in spaces both in their industry but across different mediums, trying to get energized and get trying to get energized and also looking at creative opportunities where there could be different ways to solve a problem based on different mediums and channels. So it's really important to have that curiosity and to be able to look at innovative concepts. They have to have a growth mindset. In product management, it's very challenging, not only in managing stakeholder expectations, but you might deliver a product that doesn't get adopted, that doesn't meet the needs of the client, that may fail. And if you're able to learn from that, to fail fast, to really take those best practices and to know how to improve on those processes going forward, you'll be a really successful product manager because there will always be items that we can improve on, both from a product perspective as well as a process and people perspective.
Absolutely.
I look for somebody who's also very collaborative in nature. They have a lot of stakeholders they're constantly, interacting with, but also gathering information from. They have to make stakeholders feel comfortable and confident, as we were just talking about, especially in stakeholder management strategies. And the last thing is a business acumen. With product management, we have to measure success, but we also have to know how that relates to our overall business and how we can ensure we keep all of our stakeholders happy and their interests, no matter who they are, from your leadership to your private equity company that may own you, or to additional levers that you have with the clients. It's really important to be able to speak very eloquently to every aspect of the business.
Right. And that's where your project management experience came in so well with your role now. So I always love thinking about where product managers come from, right? And hearing that experience that they can gain in different roles or different divisions within their companies, and then bringing that into product management is always really interesting. And then for women specifically, I'd love to hear some advice that you have, Sahara, for women who want to break into product management. What could you share there?
I get reached out to quite a bit from women who are budding leaders in product management, as well as those who may be interested in transitioning into a career in product management. What I tend to tell women is to ensure that they are not afraid to reach out to grow their collective circle. A lot of times we get very siloed in our organizations, and we tend to look to our immediate circle and network for support. But the more that you broaden your scope, the more information you'll be able to gain and learn, as well as really defining your leadership style beyond your current organization. It's important to go to industry events, anything from a tech week in your city or to a conference, as you'll gain perspective on what's happening not only in market, but also being able to meet people from different areas in different organizations and industries that all have perspectives and ideas, and it starts to help create your creativity. I also encourage folks to get involved in professional development communities where you can build relationships in different networks to help you understand problems that they tackle, as well as just really getting to know individuals in a more safe space. You can test different ideologies or approaches that you have. You can have some discourse that really helps you gain constructive feedback on items that you may be tackling or grappling with in your organization. And it also gets you out of your comfort zone. I think Brene Brown really said it best when the true learning happens when you're challenged outside of your comfort. And I
Mm.
think this is really an area that women have an opportunity when they're networking and they're outside of their circles to gain more information, to learn, to grow, and to expand their mindset.
That's great advice. Thank you. Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience today?
I would love to just say no matter whether you're in a B2B or a B2C setting, it's so important to index on your consumer. We learn so much as product managers being at the epicenter of an organization. We're learning the business challenges, we're learning the consumer and user challenges. And the more that you gain this information, it's so important to document and to share it. Every single stakeholder within your organization can benefit from this information. Insights that you provide can be added to a pitch deck, can be used to in a
Mm.
QBR, can be something that is promoted in marketing collateral. And all of that helps not only from a business results perspective, but also ensuring that you're providing essential information to your cross-functional partners and helping them do their job. And it also makes sure that everyone in your entire organization has a stake in surprising, delighting customers, just like you do.
I love that. That's a great nugget to end on, the surprise and delight, which is always, a fun aspect of product management for sure. So thank you, Sahara, so much for joining us. It was great to have you.
Thank you for having me, Nicole. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in to Productside Stories. I hope today's insights inspire you and propel your product journey forward. Remember, every challenge is a lesson waiting to be learned. Visit us at productside.com for more free resources like webinars, templates, playbooks, and other product wisdom we've packaged for you. I'm Nicole Tisch, and until next time, keep innovating, keep leading, and keep creating stories worth sharing.